What's up, guys? I have a York 210 here. I actually just took another one apart. I actually have about 2 or 3 in the bed of my truck. So I wanted to make a quick video on the oiling mod that basically allows you to convert this compressor that once done refrigerant to compress air for onboard air for vehicles, etc., etc. So to take this off, this is the top plate of one. Some of these have these style connections. There's actually another style also that utilizes a 6-point bolt here, and basically for that style you would need a 12-point 8mm. Let me find it. Yeah, 8mm. But that is for the other style. This style here utilizes a 1/2-inch standard socket, and I just have it on impact. So took those 12 bolts out or so. Took that plate off. Be real careful. There's a metal gasket on the bottom side of this. They are reusable. I know most people try to replace them, but these metal gaskets on these surfaces here, they've been contained for so many years that unless you literally tear it or warp it really bad, they're pretty good. But so once you take the top plate off, you'll have basically this plate here, and I'll show you the orientation. There are 2 dowel pins that from the factory allow you to, like a poke-yoke type fit. They won't let you switch the suction and discharge plates locations, so you have to align those dowel pins correctly to where this plate can mate to the surface flush, so that you do not mess the suction discharge port up. So basically that was where that top plate sat. This will be the second plate to take off. Basically there's a little lip right there on either side. Just took a little chisel, a little anything, just basically tap it real lightly, then it'll break free. Also, you see you can pull those dowel pins out. You want to be careful not to lose those. There's a paper gasket on the bottom of this one. For what I'm doing, honestly, I have replaced these paper gaskets in the past, just to be real anal, make sure that there's 100% seal. But since there isn't any really easily accessible compressor like blow off kind of pressure switches, that like an unloader, that's what I was looking for. So there isn't any relatively easily found unloader valves for 12-volt systems. Basically when this is pumping, the compressor will build up pressure in the leader hose, then it cuts off. Well, that pressure has to go somewhere once it reaches its PSI that it's looking for. So the unloader valve will let that off real slowly, so that upon restart the engine and the piston isn't under such a high load. For these here, I actually like to just reuse the gaskets, because what it'll actually do is if there's a breach in the gasket somewhere, it'll actually bleed back towards the suction side, and it'll bleed it out, and that will be allowing that pressure to find its way out. Just like a real cheat way to say you haven't, like, it can unload the compression side or the discharge side, but it's really up to the builder's discretion. That was just my opinion on it. But again, paper gasket there, check surfaces. This one here actually turned out to be really good surface wise. It's just like from sitting, literally I went to a junkyard and telling how long it's been sitting, 10, 15, 20 years, and I just spun the clutch. Good free piston movement. Nothing binding. I don't know what that mark is there. I didn't make that mark. Maybe there was some debris in the refrigerant system that might have got through and damaged the top of the piston head, but that won't be any kind of issue, especially when compressing air. So what I've done then, it had a little bit of oil in these chambers, sprayed it out with some parts cleaner, let it dry just to get some of that oil out, because you will be using non-detergent compressor oil when doing the modification to these. That's another part. But the biggest part here is there's a hole on this right here on one side of these compressors. That is the suction side bearing lube, and you can see there's not one on this side. So what that hole does is allow, when it's in a closed loop system as it's pumping, to keep the crankshaft bearings lubricated. It actually pulls refrigerant in here through that bearing and then through the discharge and then out to the sealed system. But since you're making it an open loop system where it'll be drawing in air, you'll need to keep those bearings lubricated. So what actually goes in here in the bottom here, the crankcase, is the non-detergent compressor oil. And basically you'll undo that hole there. You can make undo the bolt there. You can make a dipstick. Basically want to fill these to 8 ounces on a level surface. You do not want to go over 10 ounces. Once you go over 10 ounces, these pistons do actually, this is similar build to regular engines. They have a set of rings, but just only one ring per piston. So when I say set, this is the set 1 and 1. There is not 2 per piston. So there is a little bit of potential for the compressor oil to leak by the piston area and then be compressed out. And you'll find that in your water trap, oil trap, or if you don't run one, which I highly do not suggest that, you need to run a water trap, oil trap, you would find that in your air tank, and it's a horrible mess. So this is what help alleviate some of that, just because don't want to get any of that oil or anything inside the tank as much as possible. Now, I've ran these in the past on numerous vehicles, and they work wonders, way 10 times better than any electric compressor that you could put on, even up to an Oasis, which basically an Oasis compressor is one of these bolted to an electric motor. But they're about like $3 to $5 grand, depending on where you get it from. So if you have space in your engine, basically swap this out, clean it up, get a good clutch on it, make sure it's good, and bolt it to your engine. You'll have a vast amount of air wherever you're at, and you won't have any issues. But I just wanted to make that quick video about the oiling mod that needs to be done. That really should be done for all these compressors, just to make sure that there's not much oil that bypasses into your air tank. So on to the third one. Hope you guys like that. So like I said earlier, basically, tore it apart, got that oil mod done, and now put it back together. It literally took 10 minutes maximum with all this, draining it, cleaning it, jamming the screw in. Just wanted to show, just basically literally without reusing any brand new gaskets, anything, just putting it back together. Just a quick vid of how much compression it can hold steel. Even just, I have a drill turning this, so I'm gonna try and use my hand over the port. See if I can hold it still, and so seals pretty good. Like I said, I just literally turned it with my drill, and it pumps very well, and it holds pressure even with those reused gaskets. I mean, that's just at whatever RPM the drill can put out. These things are good to 3,000, 3,500 RPM, I want to say. I mean, I couldn't imagine, that's upwards 200, 250 psi. I've personally used these at 200 psi, regular use, continuous use, and they work great. I wanted to go out here and show you the other styles of the bolts that I was talking about earlier. So this is the other York compressor that I have. I actually have one more, so that's a total of 3 on the side here, and then I actually have a completely different style compressor. That's a Sandon. That's a wobble plate. That's actually a whole nother different topic compared to these. But to continue here, I was mentioning that these take the 12.8 millimeter because of these 4 bolts here, just due to the different suction and discharge design. Once you get these mounted in, before you get these mounted in your vehicle, what you'll need to do is to drill and tap these. What I've found is I'll take this plate off again and just set it on a mill and drill these holes out to 3/8 MPT. They work great. Have enough material where you can drill down good enough and tap it, and it hold just fine. I can actually show you one that's on my own personal vehicle here. Yeah, so this is my personal vehicle, York. Found it in a junkyard, picked it up, done the mod, and it works great. That style had a different type of mounting for suction and discharge, so I just again drilled it to 3/8 MPT, made sure that everything was hunky-dory, changed the clutch out, and I haven't mounted a belt for it yet. I'm still in the works for figuring out a loop system for it, but it does still work. It's just got to have a belt. But yeah, that's one of the many functions. If I could, I'd put one of these on every single vehicle I own. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it, guys.